Good afternoon, my name is Claudio Rivera. Welcome from Riga Business School, where we have the second episode of the second season of Bottom Line Studio. And today we are going to have fantastic guest, Katrine Judovica. I am the Deputy Dean of Riga Business School and in charge of the undergraduate programs, and as well I teach leadership in the different programs, and I am in charge of some of the programs and projects that Riga Business School does in terms of innovation in Latvia. Katrine, welcome.
Thank you, Claudia.
Nice to see you here.
My pleasure.
We are going to have 45 minutes of discussion. We have a lot of questions and issues to talk about, and there will be also possibility for the audience to make questions. But let me briefly introduce Katrine, if you allow me. Katrine is those people that don't need introduction, but anyway, so she's an Executive MBA Alumnus of Riga Business School, class 2005. Currently is the chairman of the supervisory board of the Latvian Children Clinical University Hospital. He's also a council member of the Swedbank Latvia. He is also the global CEO of MOD Foundation. That is a fantastic project, and I hope we are going to talk about that. And he's the founder of MOD Latvia as well. But also Katrine in the past has been, for more than 20 years, working in executive management positions and pretty well known for establishing Narvensen as one of the greatest success stories in retailing in Latvia. And before we start, I have, in the preparation for the conversation today, I call a friend of yours. And I said, could you say some words about Katrine? And this is what this person says, and you will have the possibility to guess, okay? Katrine's gift is the ability to listen, understand, and say tenderly what really matters. This is very motivating, encouraging, and helpful. Katrine is always full of joy and peace and goodwill, but simultaneously with a firm position and a clear sense of values. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank you, actually this person said, personally for your crucial support during the most challenging moments of my career. So someone that you have been helping a lot. Could you guess?
Is it from Narvesen times or?
Well, I think during the times you were in Narvesen, Raivis.
Raivis, yeah, I was thinking about Raivis actually as well. Yeah.
Could you tell the story with Raivis? What did you?
Oh, that was very extraordinary story because Raivis approached me. We weren't, even met each other, so we didn't know each other. And he wrote me and he asked if I could be his mentor for a while because he was at that time having CEO position, the Brain Games, and they were, going to expand into other Baltic countries, and he was looking for support and mentorship professionally in retail, but also I think we had very great match as working together.
As a mentor-mentee.
Yes, so that was really a great time we had together.
And this is what, a lot of business people do, and you particularly, that is not only to be successful in your own projects, but also helping other people to be successful. And Raivis Kalnic, for the audience, is currently the head of administration of Riga Business School.
I don't
know if you knew about it. Yeah.
Congratulations.
But if you can, in 1 minute to the audience, tell them who you are, how would you define yourself?
Oh, that's the most difficult question of the whole life. I mean, who am I? I'm the person who loves life and I enjoy my life at this point very much. That, after very intense career, I can enjoy the process in my life when I can really give back and share my knowledge and my experience. I enjoy time with my family and my Yanis for more than 32 years. We have 2 daughters and grandson. And I have, the positions, what you named, I think it's very well describes me, my intention in life to help in different fields. And I think these fields complement each other very much. So state-owned company with Children's Hospital, business, financial sector in Swedbank, and MOT as a social project for youth for the future. I think actually that state, business and social, work should complement each other in much bigger scale than it is today in the world. So that's my passion, to include everyone and to make the change in the world.
Fantastic. And you did the master's here, the Executive MBA, right?
Yes.
Do you have still memory from those times?
You said the year. Actually, I don't remember
2005.
the years,
Yeah.
but we still call ourselves EMBA forever, because we were EMBA number 4 group. And we still are very good friends, and I have fantastic memories from that time. So not only knowledge-wise, but also in building network and building relationship and encouraging each other.
Fantastic. You said that one of the privileges probably you have, but also the what you are doing, you are working in different areas. Some of them are for profit, some are state run, some are non for profit. So it's in order to do an impact. So how would you define leadership in that sense? So what a leader is? I mean, what is his or her role? If you can look at across organization, across sector, what is leadership in your?
Yeah, that's also a very broad question, but I would define actually that the leader is the person who has an impact and who has ability to make the impact. But it could be both ways. It could be positive, but also negative. And I think it's very important for leader, to be aware of her power, and also to make conscious decision about where, to go with this power and what to do with it. And especially, when I work with youth, in this age group 12, 16, when they are very much seeking out for themselves who they are, in the class, you immediately can see natural leaders. So I would say that it's very, you're born with it. You're born with this quality in a way. But I mean, positive leadership could mean only when you have this conscious, positive impact what you want to make for people. Because especially in youth, I can see, if they are not aware, it can be very destructive.
So every leader has something inside himself or herself that make him have the impact. But the good leaders are the ones that are aware and use it properly in a way. Yeah.
So it is natural charisma, I would say. And that's the question, what do you do with this talent, how you develop it?
Do you have leaders that have made an impact to you? That probably some that have been working with you, some that probably have not been working with you, but you have been looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I have been very lucky in a way, but I mean, I was put together with different personalities that really made an impact, and especially in my sports career. I used to be a professional basketball player, by the way.
I didn't know that. Okay.
But my first coaches, they really, I still remember some remarks, My first coach, he looked at my hands and said, you should be piano player or basketball player? And I still remember this remark. And I had such a great dedication to sports, to basketball. And of course I learned a lot about goals and about dedicate your work and hard work together with a team to something special. So that's from sports time. But I would say also in the business, before Narvesen times, I worked for PepsiCo, American company. But my first boss was Estonian, and Kuslab. Actually, he taught me a lot about business, but in the way how you very oriented towards profit and just to squeeze out the people, no matter what. So I learned a lot about figures and goal setting and how to fire people, but actually much more I learned in Narvesen times when I met my first boss, Rolf Erik Lee, when I realized that it's possible to lead also differently, that it's possible to lead with people, with including all into the. So for me, leadership, and this experience very much showed where is my place and what fits me most and where I feel my talents can be used, because I became Narvesen leader at age 30. I think very
young.
very early.
Right.
And then I must say also that charismatic leaders definitely. My spiritual teacher Juris Rubenis, and I am very grateful that I've been able to finalize 4-year meditation teacher course with him, and also Bairavita Freiberg. I think she's the one.
Big hero for women, especially.
Yes,
women
for
leaders,
women, and also that woman can be taking such a significant role, and even now. So after retirement, she's still very, very active. So.
So you have a leadership experience that's come from very early in your career. So you took the leadership position of Narvesen when you were 30, so very young, and that's something we see in the Baltic states. It is a little bit different probably than in other economies where it takes a little bit sometimes longer. How does it feel to be in a position of leadership, and that feeling has changed over time? So did you get used to it? I mean, on the positive side and on the negative side, how did it play with your own well-being and satisfaction?
Yeah. I have this quality, probably this courage, to take on the challenges I'm not aware of, and actually to become leader of PepsiCo and then become leader of Narvesen. That was something, if I'm thinking back with my head, then I probably would never take that chance. But I was kind of learning through doing. And I think that, approach what my bosses saw potential in me. Like I also see a lot of potential in people I'm working with, and this is some shared values and some, like raw material. If there is good raw material, you can create, competence and knowledge. So the right attitude with the right people comes. And I think I always did myself, and that's what I'm teaching, to my employees, and still now believe that at any place, any work, it doesn't matter which position where you are. If you're ready to deliver more than expected, if you go, beyond a bit more than, it's in your job description, then you will succeed. No matter if in this place or in some other place, you will be noticed, you will be visible because of your attitude and your passion to work.
So I think you are coming back again and again to the sense of responsibility. I mean, I have these talents. I have this mission to be the leader of Pepsi or Nervens in other positions. I have this power. So you mentioned, a leader has power and produce an impact. So this all means first a sense of responsibility, and this sense of responsibility will drive me to do a little bit more than what is really expected. Now, some people might feel comfortable having a feeling of responsibility. Other people might feel a little bit scared and lonely even. So you are where in the scale in a way?
I think it's different scale in different positions and different maturity of my life. That in the beginning, I would say I wasn't very comfortable. That's for sure. And this feeling of loneliness, what you mentioned, I can relate very much. And I think it's also important, that's one of my learnings, that of course you can drive the business as a team. But at the end of the day, the most important decisions about people, about money, you have to take yourself. And it's your responsibility. And those are the hardest decisions. And that's what you have. You are facing responsibility towards shareholders, towards society, towards your employees. So it's big pressure. It is big pressure. And for me, it's like many years, it wasn't easy also to stand in front of audience and to speak up, Right. But at this moment of my life, I'm doing what I really enjoy, and I'm sharing, the work and life with people I really enjoy, and then it becomes much easier, because every step you take, it's not a fight, against something, but it's like you're doing something together.
Right. So this seems to be the part of leadership that you enjoy the most, working with people to do common things together. So that seems to be the. We all the guests we ask about the technology they use, and we are in a world where, there are a lot of apps going around, and I heard the statistics and nobody uses more than 5 apps regularly. So we can be downloading, hundreds of apps every day. But do you have any apps that you use in your daily life and can help you both as a leader and also in other aspects of your life?
Yeah. What I must mention is that, we are very overwhelmed with, everything what's happening around in life. And for me, it's important, to have some frame and to have some discipline. Otherwise, it's very easy to be distracted. And for me, it's important, and I think for every person, if you can be, resilient yourself, then you can easily hold different situations and also uncertainty in life, especially, those days. So that's why, actually, I choose my phone is my main toolbox. And the calendar and planning phase is very important for me, and then it's very interesting because my youngest daughter, she is 12, and at some point we agreed 1 year ago that about screen time and controls, how important it is, and youngsters, they can't control themselves. So it was difficult, but we agreed, what will be the screen time for different applications. But she said, okay, but let's make the deal. Then I will check you as well. So we will do our weekly, we sit together.
That's so nice.
And you look at mine and I will look, and you know,
That's
it was
a tough
surprise,
one. That's
surprise.
a tough one. Yeah. She's a leader, right? I mean, she's an inborn leader.
Initiative. And you know, it was some surprises for myself. So actually, I have screen time for myself and for my daughter. But I use this Outlook Daily Brief, which is the tool of reminders. You know, which is very useful tool actually, you know.
Okay.
And what else?
We will take note of that and we'll put it in somewhere.
Okay. Yeah. So for me also music plays very important role depending on my mood and productivity phase.
Which
I
music?
use different, it's quite a big range, starting from classical music and up to different artists. So actually Spotify is the app and I have different playlists to use. And then also depending again on the, you know, my life pace and the goals, I used to use Insight Timer, which is meditation and different insight app, very broad, and hourly chime, which is actually reminders. So if I want to create a habit of something, you know, in my life, then it's important to have this reminder set, and this application helps, you know, to.
So you use one of those. I am sometimes a little bit, I'm not that confident that those apps help you on habits building.
Yeah, I can give you a tip.
Okay.
It helps for a short period of time.
Okay.
So I learned that you can't just put it and use it for months, you know, but this couple of weeks, for example, and then you have one goal, one task you set, and then this reminder helps you to get into the mood. Then
you need coaching or mentoring, or you need some support.
It depends, of course.
Some sort of support of someone else that make you accountable to your habits.
Or at least someone who can ask you, how are you doing with that one?
Do you have any other tool that you have several? You mentioned several, but do you have any other that probably you didn't mention yet?
You know, for me, I have the handbook for each of my areas of my life, actually. And so for Children's Hospital, for mood, for Swedbank.
Is it a physical handbook?
It's physical handbook,
okay.
Actually, where I put the most important, you know, tasks and also notes about the process and the projects and activities and discussions, what I'm having. I think that's very valuable because then I can look back and I kind of, that helps me, this multitasking, because sometimes there are days, you know, I have to switch my head from one, and that helps a lot. I'm taking the physical book and they have different designs and different pens I use, and that's how I differentiate.
But you go taking notes during the meeting, or you do some sort of reflection before, after the meeting? Both you do.
It's on planning, it's on actual meeting, and also after reflections or some, you know, speeches I have to write, or messages or plans. Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of leaders that are using the pen and notebook.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I'm very modern like you, so that's, you know, they could be using tablets or other, but they come back to the very traditional technology of writing in a paper.
I like physical sense of paper and pen and pencil, even to draw something there. And I think maybe because, you know, from Narvesen times, I come from the press industry in a way. And we have had, you know, decades of discussion about if press, you know, will disappear when computers comes, but now people still, you know, people need people, and people need physical, you know, emotional touch, and with good printed material and with your own handwriting. I think it's very powerful practice, you know, to write yourself.
You are the same that I am as well, with having a lot of meetings with a lot of leaders and interactions. And what's your feeling? Because there are many going into different type of detox type of practices, like going for weekends and somewhere in silence, or sometimes trying different type of detox practices. Do you have the feeling even leaders are getting too distracted by technology, and that affects their productivity as well as leaders? Do you have that feeling as well?
Do you mean detox, mental detox?
I mean the detox due to the screen time.
Yeah. So it's this overwhelming feeling.
It's an overwhelming
I think it's
feeling,
not only screens,
but
I think it's the whole environment. The pressure is really high. And I think the last years especially, so much uncertainty, and with COVID time, and now we meet people less, we use a lot of screens also to communicate and to do the job. And there's some very new trends coming up, that very many people, they don't even want to go back to the physical, place, to the office. They lose the skills of socializing, and they become very lonely and remote in their life. And I think that's a new challenge for leaders, actually, how to build the culture, how to build the teams, how to build strong self, because you can lead people only when you are in good condition yourself. So I think this self-care as a personality on all levels, mental level is just one, you create the plans, goals, strategies, you learn something new, but actually you have to take care for your body, and you have to take care for your inner state.
How do you take care of yourself?
Actually, that was one of my biggest challenges, because I'm, naturally very want to take care for other people, but that was very strong bells ringing at some point in my life. When actually I couldn't get out of the bed. It was so, distracting, actually. So my body started to give signals that something is wrong, and all the doctors, checked me, my physical and all kind of tests, all perfect. But it's like, you don't have power to live your life. And then I start to realize I have to search for something else. It's not just, to go for the run or to do exercises and to be smart. It's about balance of your life. It's about purpose. I think that was very much about, searching what is the next step in my life. I think that we all, seeking to be happy and to fulfill our life with meaningful things. And that's why the purpose of, your life, which is a huge question, but also purpose at your work, why you are here, why you're doing what you're doing. Are you using, your potential fully? Are you enjoying what you create? Are you in the right industry at the end of the day? So I think
it was like what's now people call burnout in a way.
Yes,
there's a feeling of burnout.
I can relate to that. At that point, I didn't know and didn't realize, and I think that's the topic we should talk more with the leaders. And to be aware that it's actually happening, and to do something before it's happening. Not to wait crisis of 40s or 50s.
The midlife crisis. Right? Now it's a little bit.
Now it's shifting.
The shifting on the age.
But I think at some point of our lives we face these questions, all of us, and so it's up to you. Are you listening to yourself, or you ignoring those signals and just move forward and push life? Yeah. So
with the negative impact on yourself and on the people and the company as well, right?
Yeah.
Because
it's short-term play, and of course your shareholders can send you to nice vacations and pay you extra money, but it doesn't help. It's
and what does help you now? So I know you are working with mindfulness. Is that the tool that you use mainly for your own?
That was the moment when I started very much dig into different practices, and I think to connect with this inner wisdom what we all have, then mindfulness practices. I think that's why meditation is so on the corporate world. It's not surprisingly new. It's actually. There are meditation rooms and meditation teachers on different big corporate companies as well. But for me, I think it's not only meditation. So it's not only about yourself, but also your ability to be with other people, and you have to train your emotional skills, and you have to train your communication skills, and there are also some different new ways of working.
So we were talking now is we are in years of uncertainty, right? So we have the COVID, and now it's coming out. Difficult winter. We don't know how difficult it's gonna be, right? And you say, big corporations do have some resources available to support employees, but I don't see it yet too widespread, to be honest, or too accepted. So how do you convince leaders to start taking care of themselves on this regard, and also and what type of resources are there available that leaders could use for supporting themselves, supporting their own people?
I think there are much more and more resources available. And even if you open Facebook and start to search, it's popping up many, courses and different people who are trying to help, mental health issues and some spiritual. But I have to say that you must be very conscious about whom you choose, and that you really be careful about the professional teachers and places, and I have the feel, but that's my feeling. Looking at the offering, that the offering is huge. That means the demand is there as well. But
is the quality?
But if there is quality, that's the question, and it's also if it's also affordable for bigger masses. I think, but like daily chime or this insight timer, it's free. So many free resources and apps that available. That people can start and test, because, for example, meditation, it's not for everyone. We can't say that here is one recipe that helps all.
Right.
I think what's needed to kind of to awake or to talk about it and to put awareness that this is a challenge of today's life, not only for leaders but for many people, and for youth, what I actually see as well. So I think that mental health crisis will be one of the nearest which will hit us
pandemic
soon. Unfortunately.
So part of your work with the young people is about this mental health awareness. I mean, you have such a big project with MOD. So this is part of what you are doing?
Yeah, why it reached me.
Right.
I was actually at that time at the Leaders Conference in Oslo. When I heard about the program, because one of the founders, he was giving the speech about what is MOT, and in Norwegian it means courage. And I was thinking, that okay, I'm in the business, I'm adding some value, to the shareholders. I create, franchise concept. I enjoy working with people, but what is my talent? What else? What I can give back? And I realized I want to work with youth. And when I heard about MOT, I said that's exactly because I believe if we invest in young people, this is the generation of the future leaders, of decision makers, of Saima and ministers, and probably I see this as a very long-term project, and it's preventive work. So it's about courage, it's about universal values, what we want to build into the youth so they become more resilient, more self-confident, so they can take courage, to live their own lives. They can take courage to take care for the, people around them. And they can take courage to make their own choices in life. And to put this seed already at age 12, 16, when personality is developing and growing, to teach them how to make class culture that is very supporting all, including all, encouraging talents and differences. So I think that's very, very powerful preventive tool for the future society. So I'm very happy I can dedicate my time.
So you are connected confidence with mental health. So you see a connection there. So that the level of, I understand that bullying is one of the reasons behind mental health problem and suicide cases, etc., in extreme cases, but you feel that confidence is certainly one of the factors that can be preventive.
This inner resilience, inner strength, how we call it, confidence, self-confidence, that can build this resilience. That's if I'm strong, I can take care for myself. If I can see somebody who is bullied, for example, I can take courage and stand for that person if that person is not able, to cope with the situation. So what I see in society and among youth, and now this case in Jelgava, case in Liepāja, this violence, sudden violence, cases that's, and people standing and making videos instead of helping, to stop this violence, and also to take courage to stand up and to speak up, and that's something what really needed for our society nowadays.
Yeah, in the leading up to this conversation, I mentioned you one specific or now popular speaker, Jordan Peterson, is a psychologist, and he wrote this book called 12 Rules of Life, and one of the first rules is stand up to the issues, right? So it's do you feel that when you go to the schools, you do something fantastic, that is try to build a class culture that can be supported, right? So how is the class culture by default in this regard? So when I know that you have many volunteers, I don't know how many schools you are right now, but
300 volunteers,
70
schools, 10,000 youths.
10,000 youths. So what's the culture that you meet in the classes when you come? So it's not a culture of self-confidence and pushing, it's more, or pulling more than pushing.
Yeah, it's very different. And in most cases, I have been mood coach myself, but that was 3 years ago when I finished with my class in Teika. But you know, probably the classes with already good culture is very little percent. So what we see then in every class, there are someone which is excluded,
Right.
you know, that is alone, that is in silo. There are some very active leaders, but as I said, they sometimes, you know, negative leaders,
Right.
and they make negative impact. Or if there are positive leaders, they are not aware of their responsibility and power what they can make. So that's why how we start actually is to show them, you know, how is you know, environment, and we talk about self-awareness, what they like, what their dreams, and what their roles they are playing, and then we initiate, you know, discussions and reflections through role plays, through different games, and you know, it's very powerful to see that after 3 years, you know, that the class becomes a different place. But
After 3 years.
After 3 years,
so it takes a long work. Yeah.
It takes a long, it's not like quick fix.
Right.
And also, I think in South Africa they say it takes the whole village to grow the child. So it's actually all community, the whole class. You know, if there is someone, you know, excluded, if there is someone who, you know, very sensitive, as we say, with a very heavy backpack. You know, we never know what is in the backpack of the person. So to build the culture where they can take care for each other, I think that's starts in school.
As we are getting closer to the end, if I reflect on a sort of central line during this whole conversation is leaders have an inner power that has an impact on people and that bring them a responsibility, and the positive or negative impact will depend on the level of awareness of that responsibility. And now you are working with a lot of young people trying to make them aware of those responsibilities and that they can start building the culture that can be supported to each other. But let me challenge a little bit, because, you know, working as you've been working a lot both with the corporate world, quite a lot. So the focus of this type of thinking is very much on what is the impact on the people, right? So the leader has the priority. My priority is I want the people to be okay, and I want I to be okay. So I want everyone to be okay. But some might say, okay, that's my disregard relevance on results and outcomes, business outcomes, class learning outcomes, you know, so all the standards teachers need to central exams and all that. What's your response to that? Because you've been a very successful, still you are in consulting companies, so that they need to achieve results. So good. Is there a conflict between one objective and the other?
I think it's a question of balance, because it's not like, you know, that we all, you know, happy, shiny people going around, you know, and saving the world. In the business, of course, it's obvious. We have business goals and rules, and it's about this, you know, structure. I think that's a main, you know, beginning point, you know, of course, vision and mission and, you know, the purpose, why we are here and what we create, and you know, looking at the latest researches on what CEOs want and what young generation, you know, who becoming also the young leaders, they want this sense of, you know, belonging and sense of purpose also for the businesses. So they are requesting that. So I don't think that the businesses nowadays can ignore the society, the customers. There are a lot, if there's no ESG strategy and policy, then you are out of business actually. So it's no way to go. But I think that having the broad view on you as a leader and you as business, you have responsibility not just for yourself and your people, but it's the whole globe actually. The impact what we are making through our work is much bigger than we sometimes even think about. So structure and goals, but at the same time you never forget that people are those who delivering these goals. And for me, I think you asked me also about this, what is the biggest challenge in learning what I had in my career. It was about, to make decision between values and money, if you have the person in the team who is delivering perfect result, but destroying the values of, and the well-being of other people and motivation of other people, it's even impossible to calculate how much it, destroys your business result. Only after, dismissing that person, I was starting to realize how big harm it was. But for me, it took too long probably to make this decision. So now for young leaders, I say, if you have to, choose between values and money and performance results, never compromise values, never.
This is a big proposition, because I think that's that's a very difficult choice when performance really happens on one particular individual. And so you took that decision to dismiss that person.
I took that decision. That was probably the most difficult decision in my life.
I know.
But the most courageous one. And I was reflecting a lot back about that time, and there are the tools and there are the signals what you as a manager could read to prevent such kind of So
in your view, there was not an alternative to work on the values of that particular individual?
There are different companies, different setups, different ownership structures, and also different cultures what the companies are creating. And what I'm saying is, working in Narvesen with Scandinavian culture, and also that, our owners, family-based business, very much value driven. And that's very my natural way of working. Right. So for me, with my team, in that environment, that wasn't acceptable way. Okay. But I'm sure that, it's not about the person is wrong, but the environment for this person is not right. And I'm sure that, each person can find its own fit, but into other organization, whereas, much more direct way of making business and structure. So it's really, we are different people and it's different fit.
We have to go closing. I will close with a final question. So imagine you come back to the 30 when you need to take the leadership position again. What could you do the first day you come to office?
If I go back, what would I do?
Something you can suggest to someone that is taking a position of leadership for the first time, probably.
I would definitely go out and meet people and be with people and listen to them and to make fun with them and to have lunch together and just
build the connection
and build the trust. I think that's the most important foundation.
Fantastic. Katrine, it was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Claudio, for the invitation.
And we leave you here, and there will be further announcement for the next episodes of the season. Thank you so much.